Zena, welcome to Let the Crown Speak.
Jazakallah
So happy that you joined me.
Thank you.
So Zena, it's often said that 1 in 4 women experience domestic violence. And I understand that during COVID, that number has risen dramatically. What sort of numbers are you seeing?
Honestly, we saw as soon as we hit probably mid to end of March, we saw almost a 700% increase in the call volume we got.
Wow.
And I don't think it's necessarily so much as the rate of abuse has heightened, so much so as people who were being abused, survivors, were not able to handle it anymore because they were kind of in this pressure cooker now where they had nowhere to go and their abusers knew they had nowhere to go. And so they basically felt like they had a blank check to do whatever they wanted to do. And that's when people started reaching out saying, we can't take it anymore. Our kids have been taken away from us now. We're in this place. I don't have any relief. I can't visit my parents. I can't visit my friends. I can't go to work. My abuser doesn't go to work. And I just need this help now because I don't know what's going to happen if I have to be here any longer.
And I guess in some cases, even picking up the phone to call might be difficult if somebody's kind of watching you, right?
Absolutely.
You can't speak freely.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we did was we actually, during COVID, started a text line as well. So that if people needed to contact us but couldn't pick up the phone and contact us, let's say they lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and their abuser was there with them as well, they could text in and say that we need help. And then we would either plan a time that we could do safety planning with them or tell them to call 911 if it was an emergency in that moment.
So, Zena, what do people do in that moment? They're thinking, okay, I'm kind of stuck in this situation. How do they seek help? Especially, let's say, going to the doctor, going to the hospital might be a little bit difficult, more challenging, at least in COVID times.
So usually what we see is the women who call us, sometimes they call us directly, sometimes they're referrals. And usually what we see is a lot of Muslim women, their first place of access to resources is the mosque. So they call the mosque and the mosque will call us and say, we're not equipped to handle this.
I'm glad the mosque is calling you, though.
Yes.
I'm not offering advice on itself.
Exactly. Because we have to know that our mosques are a fantastic resource, but they also have limitations. But going to your mosque is a great thing because we do outreach to mosques and we tell them, if you get cases like these, please refer them to us, we'll take them. 24/7, our phone, we have on-call staff as well, our phone lines are ringing. So we do outreach, and so people either come to us through referrals, word of mouth, or they find us on social media, or they know someone who else has been helped by us. So when someone calls, the first thing they want to do is they want to know what happens now, what can they do. So we have 2 programs that we run simultaneously. So one is our sheltering program, where we have transitional homes in Canada. And the other is remote casework, where we work across Canada to provide counseling, safety planning, sustainability planning, housing, food cards, whatever you may need. So we ask them first, what program is it that they are looking for? And sometimes they want clarification on what...
They might not know what they need, right?
So we go through everything with them, what the services we provide are, how we provide them, how long it usually takes for someone to get an apartment in a certain region, and then we go from there. So that kind of gives them some clarity because they've also sometimes been misled as to what their rights are under Canadian law, especially if they're immigrants. We used to have something in here. We used to have something in Canada where someone who sponsored you for PR, you could not leave them for the first 2 years, and they were able to revoke your PR status. So that has, been. That doesn't exist anymore.
So sometimes people are scared that it might affect their immigration.
Exactly.
Right?
They might think that, okay, oh my God, if I leave my abuser, even if I'm being physically or sexually abused, even if I leave my abuser, I'm going to be sent back home, or I'm not going to be able to live in Canada, or my kids are getting taken away from me because they'll send me away and my kids will remain here. So there's a lot of misinformation that these women are fed, unfortunately. So one of our roles is to clarify these things for them.
So, Zena, would you advise that, let's say somebody's in the situation, that they come up with a safety plan?
Absolutely. So,
there could be a safety plan for what happens in your home. Let's say you need to escape in some part of your home. Where do you go? Or there could be a safety plan for, let's say it gets really unbearable. I can't stay at home anymore, so I've got to leave, right?
So one of the first things, when COVID first hit, either we were getting 2 types of calls. Either it was, I need to leave right now today, or if this gets worse, what do I do? What are my steps I need to take, whether if I have kids or I don't have kids? So safety planning in the home is different. Safety planning in the home is more if you have children, you want to take that abuse away from where the children are, because sometimes we've seen that the children also get roped into that as well. So if someone's abusing, let's say a husband is abusing his wife, he'll then take that leftover frustration out on the children as well. Or it's go in a place where there's no weapons. So if you're in the kitchen, get out of the kitchen. Where there's knives, so leave that, go somewhere else. When it comes to safety planning, after the fact, like after you leave or when you are leaving, then it's about what type of documentation or items to take with you, when to do it, what's the best time of day to do it, when your abuser's at work or out somewhere, and what are the things that you need to grab. And then there's also a safety planning thing of when they're in our home or in their own home eventually, and you see your abuser on the street or you see them in a grocery store, what are the steps that you take? How do you make yourself feel safe? And how do you protect your children as well? So there are safety plans that we do with them every step of the way. So it's not just a one-off thing. So it's independent to everyone's situation. So our caseworkers, alhamdulillah, are fantastic. They work with the women based on their case, based on their fears, their needs. There was a woman who once told us that she was very open. She's like, if I move into my own apartment, and she's like, anyone knocks in the middle of the night at my door, she's like, the first thing I do is call 911. So what we did was we took her, after she moved out, we took her to her local community police station, and we told them that, there is a history of abuse here, and she fears for her life still. So if this happens, what is the best number for her to call if it's not 911? So they gave their community number as well, like that they answer throughout the night as well. So it made her feel better that she has someone who is going to be there for her. She feels that fear later on.
Zena, if you're in a situation of domestic violence, how do you decide that it's time to call 911?
I think you don't know until that moment hits.
Okay.
We have women who have come to us and they've faced years and years and years of abuse, like 10 plus years. We have women who have come to us and the first time was the last time for them. They said, this is not going to be our life. And usually what we see is they're calling us when they are not, in that moment, they're not fearful for their lives. Or
they're trying to find out what the options are.
Exactly. And we always tell them that if it gets to that point where, in that moment, you fear for your life, do not hesitate to call 911. There's also a lot of misinformation that people are told who don't know about what calling 911 means. So they've been told that if you call 911 and you have kids and you report domestic violence, your kids will be taken away from both of you. You will not have access to your children at all. Or if you do that, then your spouse will fight it and then we'll get the kids and you will be deported. So there's a lot of misinformation. So their fear, sometimes they call us even when they're fearful for their lives. And they'll say, we think something's going to happen tonight and we don't know what to do. And we tell them, you have to call 911 or you have to leave immediately. Those are your two options. So we always encourage, if it's a time of immediate need, you have to call 911. They're going to be the ones who help you. And we try to eliminate that fear of the police in their minds that's already been said over there.
Because they might also fear that, their abuser might have a criminal charge, right?
Exactly. And that's a big thing. We have a lot of women who come to us who have a history of sexual and physical violence, and it'll come time for the person to be charged and day in court, and they'll say, we don't want them to be charged.
They're still protecting.
Exactly. That's the, father of my children, or that's my mother-in-law, or that's my dad, and I don't want them to be charged. So we see that a lot as well. And we have to obviously take that into account and to respect that we are not here to push anyone to do something. Even if we think that, that person should be charged for what they've done, we're not here to, that's not our role to do. So it's our job also to make sure that we are there for these survivors, however they see fit.
Zena, thank you for sharing your stories with us, and I wish you the best with Sakeenah Homes. It's an amazing initiative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.